Welcome to Beyond the Footprints, our podcast about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, cryptids, and other strange happenings in the wilds of Idaho and the Pacific Northwest. I'm Stu Johnson from SquatchCon, and I got my partner with me,
Brandon Hoffines with SquatchNut.com and Squatch Juice. We've got an awesome show today for you guys, Stu. I love your intros. We have such an honor to be talking with Deb. She is also the founder and the head honcho for Bigfoot audio research and investigation. We've actually met a couple of times on Facebook. Started following her group. She's got some really good content out there. And we just want to know more about you, Deb. So tell us more about you. How long have you lived in Idaho? Are you a native?
Yes, I'm a native, born and raised, 4 generations in the McCall area. And that's where I had my experiences, most of them. I went into the healthcare field. And then when I retired, I got back to squatching when I had to retire.
That's amazing. So you lived in McCall for how long?
Well, let's see, till 2003.
That's a pretty long time.
And then
That's
moved to Phoenix for a job and some more schooling. I became an advanced EMT.
Okay. Were you an EMT in McCall as well?
Oh, yeah. I've done it 36 years, as well as nursing.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So tell us a little bit about the EMT experience. You did it for 36 years. What were some of the craziest calls that you had to go on?
Let's see. I would have to say, oh boy, we've seen it all.
Yeah.
A guy was hitting his private areas with a billy goat. His billy goat attacked him.
Oh my gosh.
Right in the family jewels area.
Oh
and he was out of commission for a while, but he survived.
That's
a good funny one.
A woman put super glue on her cheating husband's penis when he passed out. That was interesting. A nail polish will fix that real quick. Nail polish remover.
Is that what you had to do when you got there? Is to apply some nail polish?
We took him in the ambulance with me and the other medic, and we used, fingernail polish remover.
Wow. That's crazy.
He was too embarrassed, of course, to be transported. But he didn't want to go back home to his wife either. Can you blame him?
No. No, not at all.
So those are just some of the crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy funny in a good way. Yeah.
Right. Because it kind of balances out the bad stuff we experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
And the trauma and all that sort of thing from people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you're not doing it anymore. You're done. No more EMTing.
No. I had to quit because I've got osteoarthritis in my hips, knees, back. It's hard for me to get around. I couldn't get in and out of the ambulance in the end of my career. So I became a legal liability and was encouraged to retire.
Gotcha. Well, that's kind of a sad day, wasn't it?
I cried. It took me 5 years, basically, to get over it. Every time I would see an ambulance or a fire truck go by, it would break my heart because I missed the work.
I'm so sorry to hear
Probably
about
the
that.
connections with people, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So what are you doing now? Because you're living in Nampa Caldwell, is that correct?
We live west of Caldwell, or in Notice, small community of 500. When we bought our home, we inadvertently inherited a colony of feral cats. So I'm a cat rescuer. That's 2016. So
That's
I went
funny.
from taking care of people to cats.
Oh my gosh, that is
It was
hilarious.
a crash course, let me tell you. So I'm known as the crazy cat lady of notice. But I think of myself as a cat goddess.
There you go. It's all in the
I'm not
title.
like, I am just not like the other cat ladies. So, but my neighbors, oh, I get the grumpy ones that don't like cats, and oh, I'm still a bad neighbor, they tell me, and whatever. I'm handling the situation and getting them rehomed. And that's what I do. I take care of them when they're sick or injured, and they're ferals, so they're wild. And if they have kittens, then I tame them and make them used to humans. And so they can, find homes, become humanized. And I've got a pretty good success rate.
That's
Wow,
awesome. That's awesome.
that really
So
is.
what got you now? Okay, so earlier on you were talking about that's where I had my experiences. I'm
Yep.
guessing Bigfoot, Sasquatch related. Talk to us about
Yep.
that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, growing up on my grandparents' farm, just down up the street from our house, was my grandparents' farm. And we stayed there a lot because my mom was a single parent and she worked. Me and my little brother spent most of the time on the farm with my grandparents. And just behind their farm, it's a tree line. It's a thick tree line. And we used to love to go out there and play until Grandpa caught us out there one day. And he told us not to go out there in the woods because there's a wild man. And we just thought it was, he was just bluffing us, trying to keep us close to home. But later on, as we grew up, we started having experiences. And I'll remember one, I was probably 8 years old. And we were at my grandparents. It was night, and the horses started running and, making a fit. And actually, one of them ran through the barbed wire, and the rest of them ran off to the neighbors. Something scared them. Well, we started hearing this noise out of the woods. It was so dark we couldn't see what it was, but it was pretty darn close to us, and you could tell watching us because from where the vocalizations were coming from, I mean, I could actually feel it in my chest. We were standing on the front porch. My grandpa had his shotgun, and I saw his hands trembling. That's the only time I've ever seen my grandfather afraid. His hands were trembling as he held his shotgun. And I said, Grandpa, what is that noise? And he says, that's a wild man. That's why I don't want you to go in the woods.
Wow.
And so it kind of made us believers.
Yeah,
We
I
were
bet.
even afraid to camp out in the front yard, after that. And, we would ride our bike on a little dirt path. It's like a goat trail. It wasn't an improved road at the time. Back into town, the back way, on the weekends. As kids do on the weekends, take your money and you go to town and buy gum and those little airplane things and go bowling maybe. But we would hear something shadowing us. It was odd. We thought it was friends of ours in the woods along the road. But it sounded so big. And as it happened, over the next couple of years, it became more, how would I say, more comfortable with us. It would get closer. but you could hear it going through the
Wow.
woods. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah, we could see something big, but like I said, we just thought it was a friend of ours and he's big coat, trying to
And
scare
it
us.
happened a lot. It happened a lot. Where I'm going with my question. Yes.
When we went to town with our allowance money that we earned. And it was like, yeah, and I noticed there was a pattern. Even, as a child, I was about 10 years old. The older I got, I noticed a pattern with this. It seemed to be like May and June, were the more active times, where it was almost every weekend we would experience something on our bike ride to town. But then let's see, I was 10 years old. I don't want to date myself. I don't care. I'm a goddess. It don't matter.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm 60 years old. So
Well, you look
anyway,
good for 60.
well, thank you. Anyways, it was August afternoon around 2 o'clock. My friend and I were riding the bikes to town, the back road into town. And our parents, never worried about us going because we were level-headed kids, and we knew the wildlife around there. We knew what to do, if we saw a cougar or bear, but we never saw those, that close to town. Well, this one day in August, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or roughly. We were coming back from town. We'd gone bowling. We had some extra money, and we had gone bowling. Besides, go get our candy and our little airplane things. So we were riding back to home, and we were going up a road that was improved because we didn't want to come home the back way, because whatever had been following us was getting closer to us. So we
Sure.
went the other way from town, we decided, because it was getting a little unnerving. And our friends, they denied, doing anything to try to scare us. But that day we, like I said, riding bikes and headed home with all of our goodies. And then we hear it sounded like an elk whistle, bugle. Living up there, we're familiar with the wildlife. You know what they do, and their patterns and behaviors. And so it happened again, a high whistle. And we stopped got off our bikes, and we put kickstands down. And then we were trying to, scan where it was coming from. We were expecting to see an elk. Although in my mind was like, it's too hot for one thing right now for them to be out. This is not right. This is weird. It just was not normal. And so I kept scanning, and there was a tree line along a meadow, and there were the aspen trees with the white bark.
Yep.
And then I saw this thing standing right at the edge of the tree line. And it was large. It was so bulky. And it just stood there and watched us for the longest time. And I was like, is that a darn bear? Because that's what I first thought. My little friend was long gone. She went home. So as I stood there and I was trying to, figure this out in my mind, it's a bear. What's he doing there? But I noticed arms hanging almost to the knees, very barrel chested and very thick leg muscles, thighs. It was all black.
Hmm.
And I could see the sun shining off the skin around the eyes. So I knew there was no fur right up around the eyes. Is how close we were to it. And I was still thinking it's got to be there. Anyway, so I thought, I'm curious. See, I've always been a curious person. And so I wasn't afraid. I got on my bike and I rode closer. But when I got up there was a horrible stench in the air and it just burned your nose, make your eyes water. And I was like, I've never smelled that before. It was odd. And I'm, like I said, trying to put things together in my head and things weren't working out. I mean, it was so unusual. And it remained standing there. That's what shocked me. You know, because I rode my bike closer to it. I thought it would have been gone, but I kept my eye on it. And it just stood there and watched. And so, like I said, when I got off my bike and I noticed the smell, and then it did a kind of a grunt, a deep grunt. And then it turned around and walked down the tree line to the pines, just a little ways from the aspen trees. And what really blew my mind, and I knew it wasn't a bear, is when it went to walk back into the forest. It lifted up its huge, big arm and it pushed the branches away before it walked in to the forest. And I'm like, dang, you know, that is not a bear. And
How close would you say you got to that creature?
I would probably say, oh gosh, I'm horrible at distance. I would say probably a quarter of a mile.
Okay.
Quarter of a mile?
Yeah.
About 400 yards. Were you closer than 400 yards?
Probably. But when I got closer, it was more like 200, maybe 150. You know, I didn't want to get too close, run right up to it.
Well, no, and naturally you were a little bit afraid.
I was being cautious.
Kind of curious. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't know what it was going to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. So let me ask you this. How tall do you think it was? You said that it was standing by a tree, by the tree line, but how tall do you think it was?
Well, when I wrote to an investigator in Lewiston, Russell Gebhardt, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he and I were Bigfoot buddies for many years after that. And then we kind of lost touch, of course, when I went into my career. But him and another investigator came to McCall to visit with me, you know, and interview us and check out, you know, any neighbors that have had experiences. And the investigator said it was 9 feet tall.
Wow.
Solid.
Okay.
And they figured it was a male.
And what made them determine that it was a male? Did they release that?
They found some urine. I don't know.
Probably the size. I mean, typically what people have experienced.
Yeah, I would think the size, you know.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know. I was 10, so I didn't really think that much into it.
Right.
But I was intrigued. I wasn't afraid at first, you know. I didn't.
Well,
I wanted to know answers.
Yeah, well, at 10 years old, I think we all think we're pretty much invincible, right? We don't understand. We can't really quite conceive just how fragile our bodies are at that time. And we have more curiosity than we do have anything else out there. So we don't have any fear. We don't have any, skepticism at that time. It's just, what is that, right? At 10 years old. And you were with your friend and she wasn't there anymore. And then you saw it and started kind of riding away. Now, was this the only time that you really saw it clearly like that?
No. Um, I think I was a teenager, and we went camping um, farther north of McCall.
How far
Um,
north would you say you were? Were you up by Upper Payette? Were you just a little bit past that, like Bergdorf?
we were past that, up by Warren. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
Yep.
before you get to Warren, we were camped out, in a meadow, and we had some strange things happen, and I just saw a creature walking through a meadow. The same thing I had seen before. I was probably 14 when we saw it, and my aunt and uncle saw it too. And yeah, that was kind of weird.
Hmm, that's crazy. So what did your aunt and
So
uncle say or do when they saw it or any
he goes,
experienced it?
"What the hell?"
Yeah.
And this guy had been to war, I mean, in the Philippines, and he was tough guy, hunter, fisherman, and it just freaked him out totally. And so, as a younger kid, to see the adult kind of get shook up, you're like, whoa, maybe I should be concerned, or,
Maybe I
just
should be
careful,
worried.
be
Yeah,
a little careful.
seriously. That's crazy. So with all of these experiences and these sightings, when did you start doing the Bigfoot Idaho research and investigation? Is it just a Facebook page? I mean, tell us more about that. What is that all
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
Once I was forced into retirement, other than the kitty cat rescue goddess, um, I decided, my passion, I always carried it in my heart, was the Bigfoot stuff. But, working 2 and 3 jobs at a time, I never could act upon it till I retired. So I was left with, hey, you got all this time. Why not do something productive and see what's going out there in Squatch Nation? Because,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I've always carried the Bigfoot bug, as I call it. I love talking Bigfoot. I love everything Bigfoot. So
I think we both
uh,
understand that.
Yeah, we do.
I
We
eat,
do.
sleep, and breathe it. Yes.
Yes.
But
The gravitational pull of the vortex that keeps you in the circle and
I
you
guess
can't break
so.
out.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
Lord, yes.
I, I will tell you what, that is for sure. It sucked us in and we can't get out, can we, Stu?
No way, man. It's that, like I said, it's that gravitational pull from the center.
It is. It's
That's
The
like
right.
black hole sucking us in. Anyway,
Sucking us
yeah,
in, man.
you darn right.
That's hilarious. So, what do you do? Like, are you just like a Facebook group? I mean, are you going out and doing any research and investigations? Do you have any
um,
good stories
I
about that? So,
see. I formed a page more or less to gather data, sightings from my area up there, and have people submit, you know, information on recent sightings, and then I started digging into sightings up there and around Idaho. And just thought, you know what? I'm going to put a Facebook page up. What the heck? I thought it'd be a good way to promote people to opening up to talking about it. Now it's more acceptable than it was at 74. Everybody thought you're crazy back then, but um, not now. There's more believers out there now.
hmm hmm
yeah, there is. And I think that there's not, I mean, so Stu and I have said this multiple times that we're not really like believers, right? Because believing is kind of like believing in a faith and believing something that you
Uh-huh.
just don't know if it's truly there or not, if, you can't see it. But I think that he's had an experience, I've had an experience, and you've had an experience. So we don't really believe we know, right, that these creatures do exist. And that's the thing is, I think a lot more people are being more educated, and the evidence, the scientific proof, is now been coming out a lot more, especially with
Mhm.
podcasts like this. And there's a lot of other podcasts out there
Oh,
that do the same thing,
right,
and it's enlightening, right? I
right.
find it very intriguing to see that the community of Sasquatch is growing exponentially. So it's actually been
Oh,
kind of fun to see, kind
oh
of like with
yeah.
you.
It has.
So,
Oh gosh, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so you've got about what 3,500 followers right now on your Facebook page, is that right?
I think so. It started out at 11, and I was happy with that,
Now it's in the
Nice.
And it
thousands. There you
kind of
go.
just
Exactly.
exploded. I don't
Yeah,
try to
that's
convince anybody, They can believe
No.
what they want. I'm just there to help, to share stories or be there in case someone wants to share anything with me privately, message, that way, or, post a comment,
yep.
I'm not there to convince anybody. We don't have lots of big, expensive equipment. I basically do my investigations kind of in a laid back redneck way. I go in with a hippie mentality of, becoming one with the environment. Because, I used to trudge up and down mountains and along lakes. You'd walk 40 miles and not see nothing. But I found that if you just take your lawn chair, set up a camp, and put on some indigenous music, or, just chilling out music, that they're curious. And I don't know whether it's because I'm a female or what, but they are drawn to me for some weird reason.
I kind
Interesting.
of, it brings up a good point. Stu and I had a wonderful lady on last week, Ashley, and she was actually talking about how she will have these experiences when she's out rock hounding, and
Yeah.
she'll see orbs or she'll see some sort of creature, UFOs, whatever it may be. And then there's
Uh-huh.
actually people out there that are rock hounding and doing the same thing, but don't experience some of these things.
Right.
And she made a good point. And her
Uh-huh.
point was, if you're not open to receiving that, or if you're not open to wanting to see something like that, then you're not going to see it. So you've got to be willing, you've got to be open, and you've got to have the right mentality. So maybe that's also what's going on here with you and the Sasquatch, that they're making themselves known to you when you're out in the woods playing these music, the music, and you're doing all these other activities, because yeah, they are curious. But at the
They
same
are.
time, maybe you are allowing that, you're opening that up to have that possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. I go in there with the open mind and, you know, just open myself up to whatever happens. I mean, I do also paranormal investigations on this side. And it works the same way, with spirits. So
That
Interesting. Okay.
you
Yeah.
need to be open minded, skeptic, and be open to anything that may happen.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Let me ask you this. So, how many times have you been out camping this last summer?
Last 2 years have been hell for
Tough.
me. I'm just getting over thyroid cancer. I had surgery and
Oh,
lost all my hair, and I was too weak to get out and walk anywhere.
oh man.
And I'm just starting to get back on my feet,
Okay.
and my hair's
Good,
growing
good for
back and
you. Good
everything.
for you. Strong recovery
So
and getting out there.
I
Yeah.
was working so hard, going to the gym and, physical therapy, trying to get strong enough to go this year, but it ain't going to happen. But you know what? There's always next year, and I'm going. I'm going.
Yeah.
There you
Ain't
go.
nothing going to stop me.
That you I
Loving it.
like yeah, I love the determination. I love it. So that's great.
I'm a fighter, yeah. So I'm going
No,
to be
that
out there next summer, spring.
well, that's going to be
Good for you.
awesome.
Yep.
I know that we're going to be meeting each other tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, Stu, she actually bought one of my tumblers,
You
the
Oh
darn
yeah,
special
right.
that's
tumblers.
cool with the laser engraving on it. Those things are awesome.
Woo!
Yeah, so
I
it's
can't
kind of like
wait.
that,
Oh,
but
cool.
but yours said that you got the one that is it I'm hiding from stupid people. Is that the one that you got?
Yeah, I think so. It's purple.
Yeah.
My
Yep.
favorite color.
That's awesome. Yeah, my son Danton, he saw that and he goes, "I have to have that." And I said,
Oh
"That's
my
already
God.
sold, bud." So we had to get him another one.
Oh, man. So I'm going to
Yeah.
order a bunch more stuff, as finances allow. So
Well, we would love to put your do you have a website by chance or just a Facebook
just
page?
a Facebook right now. Yeah.
Well, maybe what we can do is on squatchnut.com, we have a section for partners. Maybe
Oh,
if it's okay with you,
sure.
would love to help drive traffic to you and your research and investigation page, so we can put a link down there if that's okay with you.
That's perfect. Thank you. I
Yeah,
look forward
absolutely.
to it. I
Just
mean,
trying to have the web of squatchy people, weaving it
right,
bigger, making it bigger by doing those
right.
links and stuff. Yep,
That's, you know
spreading it
what?
around.
We're a team. We got to stick together.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we want to bring it all together. That's for sure.
That's right.
So, but no, Deb, it's been such a pleasure talking with
Awesome
you and having
stories.
you
Yeah.
on the show. Yeah, great
Thank
stories.
you.
And
I've enjoyed it so much, guys. This has been a blast.
I'm so jealous that you've had so many encounters and so many experiences. I'm so
Oh,
jealous.
you just got
I,
to move to McCall, Stu. That's what you got
I
I
to
know, I
do.
got
know, yeah.
I've got a lot more, but yeah. Oh yeah. I
We
get goosebumps thinking about
well,
them.
that's because they're real. That's why you're
Yeah,
getting goosebumps. You're telling
Yep,
the
that's
yep.
truth.
right.
But I mean, I've heard a lot of stories about McCall and having quite a few sightings. There's actually been multiple people that are actually in a book that I have that have had encounters, and it's been intriguing to say the least to read these because it's not too far from where we live now. I mean, that's only about an hour and a half away from Nampa Caldwell, Boise area. And
Right.
I mean, the most dangerous part is going by Cougar Mountain Lodge by that river. Yeah, that's like the
Yeah,
most dangerous part of the whole drive, but it is super pretty. So
it
for
is.
all of our for all of our listeners out there, if you guys have not had a chance to go up to McCall or Cascade, and
Highway
you're going to
55.
Highway 55, it's a scary
Yes,
road.
sir.
It is a scary road. It's going to be added to the adventure, that's for sure.
Use common sense.
Common sense, drive the speed limit, don't try to
Yes.
pass people,
Yeah, quit trying to
and
Don't
pass everybody. Just relax.
don't be
just
aggressive. Just
yeah,
enjoy the
yeah.
beautiful view.
Yeah, exactly, and then get up there and then go find Sasquatch.
There you
Exactly.
go.
And make sure you have your phone out so that you can video it and not be
Right.
blurry.
Yep, exactly.
Right. Oh my gosh.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta prepare for that. I was having a conversation with my mom about that. "Why are they always blurry?" And I'm like, "Do you think
I
that
know.
everybody has their phone out just because they think they're gonna be able to take a Sasquatch picture? Like, they know he's gonna be right there around the corner?" No, they don't know. So anyways,
No.
So they're fumbling for it, trying to get it ready, and by that time, he's gone.
Oh, it's gone.
yeah, it's gone. Hey, let me ask you this, though, before we leave and we sign off, Deb. Have you
Uh-huh.
seen the video of the Bigfoot in Colorado off the train?
Yes.
Alright, what's your take on it?
Um, let's see. I delved into it pretty deep actually, and I come to the conclusion that it was hoaxed because there was a picture taken with the conductor from the train and the Sasquatch anyway, and it just didn't look right to me the way it moved. You know, it didn't
Yeah.
move like a large animal, not like I've seen. I've seen them move, and I know man or animal.
Yeah. Well, and I think we both concur, me and Stu. We were very intrigued, though, when we did see it for the first time. But as we
Right.
further inspected the
Mhm.
video, the legs looked like they were pants. They were kind of like
Right.
like shimmying in the wind, like baggy pants.
Right.
Just a different
Way
It was
movement than the body. Yeah.
it
Yep,
was
yep,
not moving
So
like a large animal like I've
yep,
seen. It
exactly.
moved like a man, the way it's squatted down and sat there with its knees up. No, I've
I
Yeah.
never
want
seen
it
a
to
Bigfoot.
not be. I want it to not be, and I want it to be real. But you got to trust your eyes. You got to trust what you're
Right.
seeing there.
No, you
Yeah,
got it.
exactly, right? Yep. And
Yeah,
then, I
true.
mean, you got to think too, the time of day. Why would he be on the side of
Uh-huh.
the mountain at that time of the day, especially when a
Right.
train's coming by, when
Out in the
they have
open.
out in the open, they've got great hearing, they can hear that
Yeah,
train coming miles away. There
right.
was just a lot, but I just wanted to kind of get your perspective on that.
Yeah,
That's
well,
right. And
I have people ask
without
me
having,
about it,
yeah,
and yeah, it just to me it didn't feel natural, not like what I've seen.
Yeah, I would agree. But and that because here's the thing too, guys, and the reason why I wanted to ask her is because she's seen a Sasquatch, and
good
I
point.
wanted to get her point of view. She's seen one. She knows what it looks like. She knows the nature of the walk, and
Yes,
that's kind of what I wanted to kind of get an idea from you as well, and
right.
a comparison. So
You can tell if it's a large animal. Like if you watch a large man moving, he don't move like a thin man. They kind of lumber along, but
Good point.
most
Yep.
definitely can tell
yeah,
the difference.
yeah. Well, when I meet you tomorrow with what's going on with your health, I'm gonna bring you some Squatch juice. It's my
Thank
it's
you.
yeah, you bet.
Oh,
I think that the additive that I put in there, one of my what do you want to call it? One of the things that I put in there helps
Secret
with
ingredients.
it's some ingredients. Helps with like your joints and stuff like that. So if you've
yeah.
got joint pain,
Oh, I do.
a
Yeah.
autoimmune disorder, it's going to help with that. So I'll bring you some of that as well tomorrow when we meet up.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Thank you. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for this opportunity, guys. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
It was awesome meeting you, and thanks for
Hopefully
sharing your
we can
stories.
do it
We love it.
again.
We love it.
Yeah, let's do it again. And actually, we'd love to have you on next year, probably after you go out and for a couple of camping trips, and then you
You
can
bet.
report back and let us know how your
Sounds
investigations
great.
go.
Yep.
Will
So,
do.
well, perfect. Well, thanks again, and thanks to all of you who have been listening and watching. We really do appreciate the
And
support and all of
downloading, we appreciate all that.
and downloading. Absolutely. So we just want to say thank you to all of our followers. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do and supporting us. This is what it's all about. And so with that, I'm going to sign off. So Brandon Hoffines with Squash Nut and Squatch Juice signing off.
Stu Johnson signing off.
Hi, guys.
All right. Thanks again, Deb.
You bet. Thank you. It was a pleasure.